John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of truth, popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now Jay Fred's picking football. Are y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins, your guide to picking football winners. With America's Godzilla of truth, John Fredericks, along with his partners in point picking, Jack and Nate. Also weekly contributors to the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
All right, guys, we're live on a special edition, a special Thursday night football edition of Godzilla Wins, 3 to 5 Eastern, 2 to 4 Central. I got the home team here. The whole Godzilla Wins team, the whole network is right here as we're in Vegas here in Nashville, getting ready for the meaningless Titans game tonight against the Dallas Cowboys, where right off the bat, Coach Mike Vrabel has decided to bench Malik Willis, deciding he's just not going to be the quarterback of the future after a miserable showing in the last game against the Houston Texans. So that's going to be the end of Malik. In his place, a quarterback that was a star in for the Volunteers, now 5 days removed from the practice squad. That's who they're starting tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. We'll have a lot more on that. But, hey, if you want to join us on Getter Live, you can check us on there with me, Nate Perry, the number one college picker that we have here in Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com, GodzillaWins.com. And also with me, my oldest son, Jack Fredericks, is here. The big guy, we call him because he's pretty big. He's bigger than his father. He's taller than his dad. So we got the big guy here. We got Nate. We're all live. This is the first time, guys, that we've actually all been together doing the show at the same time live. So welcome.
Great to be here.
Great to be here.
Yes, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. And, of course, tonight we're going to the game. You know, it was interesting, folks, when I decided to go to bring all the team together and together all the boys to go to one game, one Titans game. We can only do that once because Jack's in Mississippi, Nate's in Vegas, not easy, and Reno, not easy for them to do it. So I opened up the schedule. This is my son Joe and I, who's working out now at the hotel that we're staying at in Nashville. We opened up the games, and we went over every single home game. And we said, okay, we can only pick one game. You know, what will it be? And we're you know, Jacksonville, now we crossed that off. Texans, no. Raiders, now they suck. We crossed that off. You know, so we got there. We said, okay, we circled the Dallas game. Between Christmas and New Year's, we said, okay, here is the game of the season, Thursday night in Nashville. Both teams probably going to be battling for maybe number one in the division or certainly, you know, going in the playoffs. This is going to be the game, and this is the one we picked. And as it turns out, for at least one team, Nate, it's a totally meaningless game. Now, what is the irony of that?
Well, I mean, we always knew Tennessee was going to be bad, right? So,
I know.
but yeah, but for the Cowboys, it does mean a lot. So it's sort of an interesting game in that way, I guess.
Well, it means nothing for Tennessee because they have to win next week in Jacksonville. So whether they win or lose this game is meaningless because they have to win, even if somehow they beat Dallas tonight, which seems remote with half the team playing and Vrabel's resting players. Even if they do win the game tonight, they still have to go and beat Jacksonville, regardless of what Jacksonville does on Sunday against the Houston Texans. So for Tennessee, it's a meaningless game, other than the fact, Jack, that they lost 5 in a row. I don't know how you go to Jacksonville needing a win when you've got a 6-game losing streak.
I think that's kind of the question. That's been my question lately is, okay, it's a meaningless game. We're playing the numbers here. Doesn't matter who wins or loses for the Titans because they can end up in the playoffs by beating Jacksonville next week. However, you can't feel good about a team after losing 6 straight going in playing for the division just as a group of men trying to play football. In my opinion, that would be difficult. I also think that regardless of who's playing, these guys love to win. So I don't really put a lot of stock in meaningless games because I just don't think that NFL players really take weeks off. Listening to a lot of them retired NFL players talk on different shows and stuff, they don't seem to have that mindset. So I don't really fall into the meaningless game trap. You just never know in the NFL. There's too much parity in the league.
And it's the other thing too that we sort of like see sometimes is teams that take a week off sometimes come out a little bit flatter after they've rested. It's like they get out of a rhythm or something, you know. Bye weeks are a little different, you know, they're still kind of practicing and stuff, but I feel like a lot of times especially before the playoffs, you see a lot of teams take the last week of the regular season off, rest everybody, and then they come out in the first week of the playoffs and they suck. You know, they just for whatever reason just don't look the same, and I think that always has to be a concern, you know, for a team like the Titans. Obviously Vrabel's a good coach, he's good at getting guys up for games, but I think that it's a huge ask to be like, oh, well, we lost 6 straight, let's just go ahead and, you know, do our best out there and play our most meaningful game of the season after not playing it all the week before.
Especially in prime time on Thursday night.
Well, yeah, and look, I think that the NFL has showed over time that those teams that, you know, take the last couple weeks off because they got it locked up and rest all their players, I think it showed time and again they don't perform well. And it's those wild card. You know, how many times does these wild card teams come in, you know, won a game on the road, and then coming in, they're playing a team at home that's had 2 weeks off and beat them, right? We've seen that countless times. But, you know, before we get to some of the other stuff, just finish up on the Tennessee game tonight here in Nashville. This place teeming with Cowboy fans, right? We've been here. Joe and I have been here 2 days. I mean, half the field is going to be Cowboys fans.
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, we were just at brunch earlier, and there were all I saw was Cowboys fans everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be it's kind of an overcast night. I think it's going to be balmy mid-50s. But the big news for Tennessee, other than the players that are hurt and that they lost 5 in a row, and I think they're now up to a 13-point underdog, Nate, in the last minute.
14 points.
Right. So they just I didn't bet them early in the week because I knew it was going to keep going up. But what do you think of the move that Vrabel did just hours ago that nobody saw this coming at all? They're going to start Joshua Dobbs on Thursday night in prime time. Now, Dobbs just came off. You know, he was a star with the Tennessee Vols. He's a former Tennessee Vols star. He's going to start in place of Malik Willis, who is not hurt, who was the Titans' selection in April's draft. They wasted a 3rd-round pick on him. A lot of people thought Malik Willis could run. He had 28 rushing touchdowns for Liberty. A lot of people thought, okay, he's going to be the guy. You know, Tannehill's getting older. Plus, there's no way they're going to renew that big contract he has. A lot of people thought that end of this season he might restructure it or get cut for them to save salary cap. And they turn around in a game that Malik Willis needs for development.
That's the surprising part.
And just bench him.
Right.
And then bench him.
Yeah.
In a meaningless game.
It makes no sense. I mean, I figured they'd want to get him the reps if they were serious about him. But now, who knows who plays? I mean, we were talking about this earlier before the show. Is Tannehill going to be back next week? Is that their whole plan? They just rest.
Well, they say he could be back. He could be back week 18,
which is next week.
Which is next team. That'll be next. But although that's remote, but obviously, either way, you got to figure that Jack, that a decision was made by Vrabel and Downing, Todd Downing, their offensive coordinator. You got to figure, and I'm sure that because there's no GM, right? They fired Robinson. Amy's got to be involved in this decision. I couldn't imagine they would make this without her. But they've obviously made the decision after last week's game and the other, I guess, 2 weeks that Malik Willis started. He started 3 total games. He had 99 yards passing last week. I think they made the decision he's not an NFL quarterback. Why else would they bench him tonight?
It's just so fast to make a decision, right? I mean, 3 games. He's your rookie. He's the guy that you thought was going to be your guy after Tannehill. I just don't understand how that's a big enough sample to make that big of a decision.
Is that what the Tennessean is reporting? Or
No.
are they just report? Because what they're reporting is that Joshua Dobbs is going to start tonight in a meaningless game against the best defensive line in the country. There's a possibility they just don't want to risk Malik Willis getting injured to taking a gazillion brutal hits tonight via Micah Parsons and some of the others, that they just are going to end up going with Dobbs to protect what the only quarterback option that they have. I don't believe Tannehill's coming back week 18. The reports when he first were injured that he's probably going to miss the rest of the year. I don't think that all of a sudden he's going to come back. Tannehill's a brittle quarterback anyway. Maybe he does, but I think they're trying to rest Malik just in case they need him for Jacksonville. That to me feels kind of more of what they're doing than just benching this guy. Now, he's not good. If you've watched him, he doesn't look good. He lost to the Texans. Not great. But it's their only quarterback.
This is incredible because what you're just saying is basically they're using Joshua Dobbs as a sacrificial lamb in order to get beat up. I mean, that's pretty sad, right? But I mean, if they didn't think, okay, so if they don't think Tannehill's coming back week 18 in a must-win game at Jacksonville, a must-win game, right? Yeah. Then they're going to start Willis because they got to start him at Jacksonville, right? Or I mean, there's no math here that says you gave up on Willis to save anything because he needs reps. The one thing the kid needs is reps. So you're going to take reps away to then throw him into Jacksonville, where he was pathetic last week against the Texans. I mean, watching that game, he was incapable of moving a football. The last 2 drives, he threw 2 interceptions when he actually had to pass the ball. He didn't run much. I mean, the total offense was Derrick Henry. That was it. So, I mean, I think this is a longer-term decision. And no, Chris from Massachusetts texted me, he said, throw a shave on. I'll shave Monday at 4:15 a.m. I'm off this week, so I'm not shaving. So, but thanks for asking, Chris. But look, I mean, I don't see this move unless they've made a decision Malik's not the guy. If nothing else for this season, because maybe they decided, okay, well, he's not the guy to beat Jacksonville, so maybe we have no Tannehill. Maybe we have to go with Dobbs. Why don't we throw him in there? And this guy, Dobbs has got like minimum NFL snaps.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he was a star in Tennessee,
yeah.
but that was, at the Vols, but that was it.
He's definitely a run-first quarterback, if I remember correctly.
He had a few starts in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He was a backup in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do much. I mean, we just got him up. He's been on the team 5 days, right?
Yeah.
Practice. He's been on the team for 5 days. So see how that goes. All right, guys, moving on. We're going to get together live as well. We've got Jack Fredericks, my son, is here. Nate is with us, and you want to get together live. We'd love to get your comments on that as well. Listen, I want to get to Sunday's game, the Rams game. The what was that? Christmas Day game. I want to get to this Rams game where you're sitting there, whoever it was forced to watch it. You're sitting there on Sunday at Christmas, flipping the channels, looking for an NFL game, and you get Denver, LA. And Baker Mayfield, who was cut 3 weeks ago by Charlotte, right?
Yeah, Carolina.
Was having a horrible season. Worst quarterback rating in the entire NFL. They make him the third-string quarterback. They basically cut him. Rams pick him up. Horrible team. Half the team is out. And they lay 52 on one of the best defenses in the NFL. Now, are either of you guys going to tell me that Denver on Christmas Day didn't just quit playing? I mean, I watched 10 minutes of that game. They probably missed 15 tackles in 2 times that LA had the ball and went right down the field. I mean, is that the kind of product that the NFL is trying to put on the field, Jack?
I don't know. That game made me mad because I was 1-0 on Christmas. I picked the Packers to cover, and they did, and I was gloating my intellect, and I took the under in that game because you always take the under for the Broncos, and it bust in the second half. Like in the third quarter, it's over, because like Los Angeles scored 52 points. It was a pretty rough game, but Sean McVay's a pretty good offensive coordinator. He's a good coach, and he can get pretty much anything out of quarterbacks. I mean, remember he had Goff before he had Stafford, and did pretty well with Goff. So. No, I mean he just seems to know how to get Baker in a position to make the right play. But it did look like Denver quit. I mean they're not playing for anything. I don't think that they don't love Hackett. Obviously, he's gone, and I'm not sure how big of a fan anyone is of Russell Wilson on that team. So they could have just quit They've been playing good all year. They could have just thought
they just quit. I mean, and then Hackett got fired the next day.
Yeah, we
as
just
he
watched
should
his
be.
funeral. On
I mean,
Sunday.
a game like that, you just can't have your team quit, and then they're fighting on the sidelines. The guy had obviously lost total control of the locker room for Denver, who was supposed to have somewhat of a promising season, and that went down. But let me tell you the other thing that really bothered me about that game. Okay, and I know we're going to have some debate here, but I watch football and baseball to escape. I do politics all week. We do it at the house, right? I cover news all week. I get up at 3:45, 5 days. I cover it all week. I'm an NFL fan and I'm an MLB fan to escape. I got my teams. I like to bet on them with DraftKings, which I'll get to in a minute. But that's my escape. And this is why I was so opposed to these guys kneeling. The last thing I want to do on a Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock is get more political statements jammed up my behind when I'm trying to watch a football game or a baseball game. I mean, it absolutely drives me bat crap crazy. Okay? So I turn this game on, and everybody on the Rams sideline, McVay and all these people, or whatever his name is that his name, Sean McVay, the coach, or is that the guy on Buffalo?
That's the Rams.
Who's the Rams coach?
Sean McVay.
Sean McVay. Okay. So all the coaches, they got these black shirts on with a big circle on it, and it says opportunity. Okay, I'm for that. Opportunity. Change. Fine. Change, win a football game. Okay, I'm for that. And then we've got social justice. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is social justice even mean? Why is this getting put down my throat on Christmas Day while I'm just trying to enjoy my family and watch a ball game, right? And then I'm looking around and it's on all the banners, social justice, right? And then they got hats on. Then Matthew Stafford, right? Is that the quarterback, right? The guy that's hurt. He's got a hat on, social justice. This is what is going to just, I'm telling you, football went back up after the kneeling garbage. But now it's how could the NFL condone this? I don't care what you do off the field. When you go outside in the bus, wear hats, Black Lives Matter flags, have us jump up and down, go on the top of the bus, do a rally. That's all I care. Just don't jam it down my throat when I'm trying to watch a football game to simply escape from the everyday of politics getting jammed down my throat by the left. Does that make sense, Nate? I'll start with you.
For me, no. It's if I'm being totally honest. These people obviously feel pretty strongly about it. These athletes feel strongly about it. They have a huge platform to be strong about it. In the same way that you have a platform on your radio show, I don't know if there's necessarily if these two things, sports, politics, need to be mutually exclusive, particularly for something like social justice, which is about objectively just trying to help people.
No, it isn't. It's like making a statement. It's not saying we want. I want social justice for beer. I went up to the bar last night. My beer was warm. I want beer justice. Should I go put a hat on? The hell with that?
Yes.
I mean, really, this is going to destroy it, and this is where I give it to the MLB. As bad as Manafort is, and I can't stand the suits at the MLB, they have really stayed out of this stuff. Goodell is a flimsy little limp weasel that he's totally the whole NFL is woke. And I thought we got rid of the kneeling, and then I got to tune this game in and get this jammed up my butt. And I really found it offensive, more offensive than Denver quitting.
Are you so thin-skinned that this really ruins the experience of watching a football game?
I just
for
don't
you,
want
what
to
they wear
deal
on
with
the
it.
sidelines?
Why should I have to deal with that?
I don't think you have to deal with it. I think you can just ignore it.
No, but not when it's jammed up my butt, right? I don't have a problem on the back of the helmet where it says "Inspire Change." That could mean anything. I'm for that. Stop stealing elections. I want that change. Fine, inspire change. But when you start putting social justice on your shirt on a nationally televised game, and everybody's got it on, so if Sean McVay had it on because he's a libtard, fine, right? But
what do you think social justice means?
I don't know what it means. It means we've done. The country's done something bad to people. That's what it means, social justice. Justice is You get accused of something, you go to a court, you have a jury of your peers, right? I mean, the entire, how about social justice for the entire corrupt FBI? How about that? How about for the entire corrupt CIA? How about for the entire corrupt Twitter? How about for the tech companies? How about social justice for the tech companies? Right? It's just liberal, woke nonsense on a football game jammed up our butt. And so I think it's going to hurt them.
And here we are making a sports show political.
Well, because they made us do it.
Well, look, you're back on the air on Monday. You haven't been able
Tuesday.
Tuesday,
Monday.
You haven't been able to talk about this all week. I'm sure it's killing you. So, first opportunity you get your little riff out. The thinking I have is they scored 52 points, so it worked. So I'd probably wear it next week. They changed something, and when you buy an NFL team, Dad, they don't have to wear those shirts. But until you can afford to buy the Dolphins, you're gonna have to watch what the owners decide to put as a product on their field because they own the team. That's capitalism.
Okay, well, that was that inspired by the LA Rams, or was that inspired by, was that done by the NFL and Goodell and all his woke wisdom? That's really the question.
I mean, has Goodell been like the woke whisperer? I mean, Colin Kaepernick hasn't had a job in years because of Roger Goodell. So I'm not really sure that like Roger Goodell's like Mr. Woke.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not canceling anyone.
But right or left, or don't you guys agree with me though that there is a segment of society that watches football and baseball? They watch pro sports, whether it be hockey or whatever, to escape. I mean, because it's not part of your regular everyday life. It doesn't affect you. You're not talking about inflation or the price of food. By the way, I got this receipt in my pocket. So yesterday, Joe and I are out and we're walking around. We walked around the entire city as great father and young Sunday before you guys, while you guys were driving in from Memphis. And we stop, we get at the Omni Hotel. No, I'm sorry, Indigo Hotel. And there's a little coffee shop there at the Indigo. And we say, well, let's get a cup of coffee, right? Regular thing that two people would do, right? So we go in there. We each get a container. This isn't even in a cup. We each get a container of coffee, right? In a cup like we got today, right? Yeah. They pour the coffee, and he gets milk, and I drink it black, and we have our coffee, and they bring over the bill, $13.06. 2 cups of coffee was $13.06. Now, where is have you guys ever seen that? How can that's $6.50 a cup for a regular cup of coffee?
It feels steep.
It feels a little steep.
I just want to butt in here and say we don't usually do 2 hours of sports. Most we ever do is an hour and a half. And before the show, I asked Dad, "Hey, what are we going to talk about for 2 hours? What do you want to do?" And he looked at us and said, "We have so much to talk about."
That's right. We have so much to talk about today.
He didn't say inflation. So, I guess that's what
the coffee experience was. Yeah. Well, the coffee experience was it. All right, let's get back to Titans. Then we're gonna go at the bottom of the hour, take a quick break here, and then we get back with all the other games coming up. Plus, we got the big college games. Okay, so tonight, Dallas at Titans. This game opened at 9.5, and now it's all the way up to 14. So I figure if I wait till game time, it'll be 20, right? So it's all the way up to 14 now. Nate, I know you're a Cowboys fan. Cowboys are 14 points over Tennessee today, playing half a team. Who do you like?
I mean, I already bet on the Cowboys, right? I managed to get it at -10 before they announced that Josh Dobbs was starting and all that. So the lines moved quite a bit in response to the quarterback stuff. But I think the Cowboys are just more motivated, right? Are they motivated enough to beat them by 14 now that it's 14? I don't know. 10, yes. 14, I'd probably almost lean Titans, though. This just seemed is Josh Dobbs that much of a downgrade over
Malik
Willis? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
evidently.
Yeah, I guess. There's a statistic out there, and it goes back quite a long time, where if the spread is more than 10, always take the under. I think the under is 40. And the thinking is that if the underdog wins, they're going to win a close game, low scoring, because they're just not good enough to score a bunch of points. If the team that's favored wins, they're going to take their foot off the gas enough where you're never going to get to that 40-point total. So for me, I'm taking the under at 40 here, just based on that rule. That's just one way to look at those games. It simplifies things for me to have some of those rules in place. On principle, I'd go with the Titans at plus 14. That's another rule I have. Just like in blackjack, you play by the book. When you're talking a spread more than 10, I almost always am going to play the underdog because there's too much parity in the NFL. Teams don't get blown out that often, unless, you're playing the Rams apparently.
Well, I think in this season, if you took every underdog 10.5 plus, I think you'd have one loss. One loss, maybe two losses. I mean, a lot of the dogs covered. I know I took somebody plus 10 last week. Seattle, they got beat by 15 or something. But most of these games have been covering, no question about it. Look, I'm a Titans fan. I think 14 on a Thursday night is just too much. So I'm gonna go with the Titans into 2 touchdowns. Maybe we'll get a garbage touchdown at the end and have a backdoor cover. All right, guys, we've got a lot of games coming up. Plus, this is a new because we're all here. We're going to take your calls, 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646, 888-480-5646. You're live on Godzilla Wins. We're live in Nashville. This is home of Thursday Night Football. Who is it? Dallas tonight coming to Tennessee. We're going to be at the game. So we got an hour and a half to go. We got a lot of games to go over and college football all coming up right here on Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. Hope everybody had a great Christmas. We will be right back. Stay with us.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
We're back on Godzilla Wins. This is a special Thursday night football edition, and it is great to have you with us. And this is sponsored by our great friends at DraftKings. The fans, the tradition, the glory, there's nothing more thrilling than college football, and it all comes down to the national championship game happening, guess what, on Monday. My go-to for betting is DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. Now, we've got this national game coming up. We're going to get our picks in a couple minutes on that. You want to take our picks, you want to go to DraftKings, because right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college football and get $200 of free bets instantly, win or lose. Plus, everyone can combine multiple bets for a bigger payout with DraftKings same-game parlays. Now, this is really going to be outstanding. This app's the best app. I use it every day for everything, all the time. I get the lines, I get the insights, I get everything right there. Just download the DraftKings app, the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and a promo code Godzilla. You are good to go. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code Godzilla. New customers, again, bet $5 on college football. Get $200 of free bets instantly. That's promo code Godzilla only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, you must be 21 or older, Virginia only. Bonus issued to free bets. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football teams. Terms. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Virginia Problem Gambling Helpline, 888-532-3500, and you're good to go. Okay, so on the Titans game tonight, I got the Titans plus 14. Jack, you got the under?
Under 40.
Nate, it was not clear what your pick was.
Cowboys minus 14.
Okay, so you're going with you're not going to bet against your home team.
Absolutely not.
And all these lines that we're doing now, courtesy of DraftKings, we're going to do NFL, then get to the big college games a little bit later on. So 1 o'clock, okay, we got Denver, Kansas City minus 12.5 at Arrowhead. Denver just giving up 53 or something to a third-rate LA team, fired the coach, the defense quit. A lot of people would say, okay, they're going to come back this week, going to play better. I just don't see it. Chiefs are playing for home field advantage. Denver's pitiful. They don't score. Wilson is a clown show. I like the Chiefs minus 12.5. Jack?
Again, on principle, I don't usually ever take a team that's just minus more than 10. I'd probably go with the under here again in this game. I'm not sure. I don't have my DraftKings app up.
45.
Yeah, under at 45 seems incredibly generous considering the Broncos can't score. And they do stop people. They're not going to let up 50 to Kansas City here. So I'd probably take the under again, just keep hitting that and play that little trend where again, if the team is favored by more than 10, the under hits a lot more than the over in those situations over a long period of time. So I just play that trend, continue with the under. I don't have much of a feel for the spread in this game. I'm definitely not laying 12.5, Nate.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it has to do with a lot of these teams just bounce back after they fire their coach, right? We saw it with Carolina. They're a different team.
Well, they
without
they have a chance to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
After
I mean,
we all made fun of them.
They went from
I
just
didn't make fun
being
of them.
a complete
That's
disaster. You made fun of them.
No way.
They went
I
from
made
being.
fun of them.
I made a lot of fun of them.
Yeah.
But they went from being a total
We both
disaster.
predicted that Matt Rule would get fired before Halloween, and we were both right.
We did, and we've seen him bounce back, which is kind of like what I'm saying. And I guess it's not clear whether or not the Broncos quit on Russell Wilson, which maybe they are, or if they quit on Nathaniel Hackett. So I mean, I think that there's a good chance they bounce back here and put a. I don't see how they can be any worse now. So I'm willing to take the 12.5 points with Denver just for that reason alone.
Yeah, but the problem is, Nate, they don't score. So I mean, if Mahomes
Carolina didn't score, and then they fired their head coach, and now they score all the time. I mean, now they just kill people. So I mean, it's I think
And
that
they got
some of
rid
it's
of-
just
and they got rid
coaching
of
and
McCaffrey.
motivation. Yeah, they have an objectively worse team they did to start the season, but for whatever reason, firing their coach just rejuvenated everything. And I think that, I mean, Denver has talent. They should be able to score. They have a good quarterback. Russell Wilson has too long of a track record of playing excellent football to be this bad right now.
He's
I mean,
really bad.
The talent doesn't just fall off a cliff at quarterback like that. It does at running back, but not at quarterback.
It's really bad. He's really bad. He's really bad.
Well, it's not a tough season, but I do think probably bouncing back after firing Hackett, who we all know was horrible. Denver probably has enough juice in them to cover 12.5 point spread. The Chiefs don't have to blow anybody out. It's not college football.
And it's a divisional
they can win
game.
by 7. Yeah, and it's a divisional game.
I mean, so those are always close.
All right. Well, Jack, did you say you're going with the under?
Under 45, but I think I also like the Broncos plus 12.5 now that we're talking about it.
All right. Well, I like the Chiefs minus 12.5, so I'm the contrarian here. Nate's going to take the wood and get blasted. I mean, the 12.5 is meaningless when the other team when your team doesn't score. I mean, it's just Mahomes gets 2 touchdowns, they cover with a field goal. So I don't know. Okay, let's get to Jags at Texans. You know, Nate, you've been over the Jags all season. You bet them on DraftKings to win the division. You took big odds there. A month ago, they were 4 games out. Titans had this thing wrapped up. Now they got to go to Jacksonville in a week from Sunday, and it's win or play golf. Basically, the season's over for them. Jacksonville going to Houston. I'm surprised. It's a 4. It's only 4. I thought this game would be 6 or 7. Nate.
It would be 6 or 7 if it was a meaningful game for Jacksonville, right? But they don't have to win either. Their chance
They don't have to win either.
Their chance of getting a wild card berth is so slim, like less than 1%. I think is like what most of the stuff is. So I mean, they're not really playing for a wild. A win's not important to them. So I mean, 4 makes sense. And Houston's been pretty feisty lately. I mean, Jack's been talking about it a lot. Houston's been quietly really, really solid. They played Kansas City really competitively. They played the Cowboys really competitively. So I think this is a little bit of a reaction. They beat Tennessee
in the fourth quarter on the road.
Yeah. So this is a team that's playing better. That being said, I'd probably lean Jacksonville just because it's not a meaningful game for Jacksonville. They're resting Trevor Lawrence as well. They're resting their starting quarterback. C.J. Beathard will be there. But Houston also kind of has an incentive to lose because they're almost the number 1 overall pick. They're like half a game away. So if Chicago, stubs their toe, and Houston's looking for a quarterback. So it makes sense that Houston might also rest some starters just to kind of tank a little bit. But I don't know. This looking like a proud team lately, but I still think Jacksonville's probably the play.
I like Jacksonville just because they're winning. They're not going to for the reason I don't think Tennessee should be resting their players tonight. I don't think you want to go to a game like next week, after getting beat by a team with 2 wins. So I think they win and cover. I don't care who the quarterback is, Jack.
I stood on this show last week, and you can check the tape. And I said the Houston Texans mean business. Take the money line against the Titans. They're going to upset someone because they're playing good football. And you guys laughed at me.
Yeah, we did.
Made me out to be a fool.
Yeah, we did.
And I was right.
Yeah, you were.
I was right in the column. I was right on the show. The Houston Texans are coming to play, and they're going to try to beat everyone in their path these next 2 weeks, and then they don't have to play more football. And I also think, I'm a big Lovie Smith guy. He's not won anywhere he's been, although he did go to a Super Bowl. So,
He always has a job.
he's great. I think he gets these guys pretty fired up. Meaningless game for Jacksonville. I'm taking Houston plus the points. Absolutely. I've been all over the Texans since the Cowboys game. I'm here for them. I was on the Texans early when I thought that maybe they could make a run at the division, and then they never won another game.
They didn't
Right.
do that, yeah.
But I'm a big Davis Mills guy. So Texans plus 4, baby.
All right. You got our picks there. I just think they're just on a roll right now. I don't know how Tennessee gets in there next week and beats them, but we got 10 days to figure that out. All right. New Orleans goes to Philadelphia. Saints still in the hunt. They're plus 5.5. They had a big win last week. Eagles coming off their defeat. Justin Hurts out again. Eagles minus 6.5. What did I say? 5.5. I didn't read it right. Eagles minus 6.5 at home. I look for a bounce back game here. Eagles not going to lose two in a row. I don't like betting a team that I don't think they can win just because I'm getting 6.5. So I like the Eagles to bounce back, wrap this division up, wrap the home field up next week at home against New Orleans minus 6.5. Jack.
I don't think that. First of all, the Saints. Who'd they beat last week? The Browns.
Yeah.
Not exactly impressed by. I'm not impressed by anything the Saints do. They have an okay defense, I suppose. I just think Philly's defense is going to swarm and end up picking off Andy Dalton 2, maybe 3 times. I've seen this happen so many times where Dalton starts to sniff success and then it just blows up in his face. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the ball very effectively. I just think the Eagles take it to them here. I'm going to lay the 6.5 as well. You can make a lot of money taking the Eagles as favorites. They could be the best team in the NFL. They're really good when Jalen Hurts is healthy. So I'm taking the Eagles here minus 6.5.
What do you think, Nate?
I think we're all in agreement. I think that Philly looked good, right? Philly looked good with Gardner Minshew at quarterback last week. They put up a hell of a fight against the Cowboys. The Cowboys were lucky to win. So for all my doubts that I had last week that Gardner Minshew would be able to run this offense effectively, he pretty much silenced all those doubts. I mean, it's clear that he's a really solid backup quarterback. And if he plays this week, I don't see them slowing down. It seems like the system just works really well in Philly no matter who's under center. So I think that Philly probably wins. Obviously, at this point in the season, we get a lot of teams that we've been talking about and we'll keep talking about just because it's something to factor in is that, motivation. Are teams motivated to win? Are they motivated to win? Philly, if they win, they clinch number 1 seed overall, clinch division. Everything gets clinched. So it's a huge game for Philly. Obviously, it means something for the Saints too. They're not going to just roll over. They're still vaguely in the NFC South race because the NFC South is such a disaster. But I think that Philly is just a much better team. The Saints
They roll.
Just don't have it.
They roll.
Is the game in Philadelphia?
Yeah. It's in Philadelphia, and Hurts is out. That's why it's only 6.5. But the game last week, I mean, Dallas came to play. Dallas beat them. They need this game to just wrap things up, right? Why go to next week still with the division, especially if the Dallas wins tonight, which is highly likely. Now they're nipping on their heels. So I think Eagles minus the 6.5. Okay, Colts going to New York. Giants, football Giants. Now, Nate, you were all over the Colts last week.
I was.
Right. I kind of liked them at the beginning of the week a little bit because I thought, such a disaster, teams bounce back. But then I didn't pick the game. I didn't like it. The more I looked at San Diego was streaking. This team, the problem with this Colts team, Nate, is they're really bad. And Jeff Saturday, there's no way this guy gets hired. It just hasn't been successful. As much as we all like Jeff Saturday, I loved him as a center. I love former coaches, players coaching, especially guys that were on the offensive line. So, but he's not been any good. I don't know what else to say. And the Colts are just pathetic. And of course, they benched what? They benched Ryan last week and put who in?
Nick Foles.
Nick Foles. He was a catastrophe. This is just a really bad football team now. They just want the season to go away. Saturday, it's not going to come back. They can't save his job. The Giants, meantime, are fighting for the playoffs, right? They had a huge win almost win again last week. They were right there, and they beat Washington 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night. They're -5.5. It's tough to lay points on the Giants, especially 5.5. 2.5, 3. It's really tough to lay points on the Giants. But I don't see this Indy team winning. And Giants are at home. I'm going to go with the Giants -5.5. But it's not to me, it's a $25 bet because it happens to be on. I don't like laying 5.5 with this team that doesn't score either. But I just don't see the Colts. Jack?
I don't see the Colts either. Nate was definitely on the Nick Foles conspiracy theory stuff about how he's actually really good, and so he'll be fine against the Chargers. Nate can expand a little bit more on that because that didn't turn out the way he thought.
Yeah, what was that about last week?
Oh,
Nate?
I had a whole thing. I was pay Matt Ryan all the money, so he obviously gets a start, right? That's fine. That makes sense. Nick Foles is in backup. And then season goes south. They have Sam Ehlinger, and I think, all right, they want to develop Sam Ehlinger. That makes sense why he passed over Nick Foles. It never occurred to me that Nick Foles just sucks. It never occurred to me that Nick Foles might just be bad. I had all these theories. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl as a backup.
He's got a statue outside Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the man is a Philadelphia legend. He doesn't pay for meals in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But it never occurred to you. He just sucked.
It never occurred to me that he's just old and bad now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only 33. I thought, I still got a little juice left.
He doesn't.
He did not.
I think they're going back with Ehlinger now.
Yeah, I mean, who cares at this point? I mean, just whatever guy you want to roll out there is fine. I mean, they're all going to be bad.
So who's your pick?
Colts. The
Colts again.
I like.
You're not saying that with a lot of authority, Nate.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I was all over him last week. This is the ultimate bounce back after getting embarrassed, and then they were terrible again. They just look horrible. But I mean, the Giants just don't cover these big spreads, right? We've talked all season about the Giants are just sort of a fortunate team. One bounce, one costly turnover, interception, fluky play. That's how they win. So 5.5 just feels like too much for a team that just sort of is always grinding on close games. So I mean, I think the Colts are going to win. Probably not. They love to lose at this point. But the Giants just aren't a team that puts people away. I think this is probably just going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. The Colts still have a decent defense. They just are just
really the same defense that gave up a 33-zip lead to Minnesota in the second half.
But they also held Minnesota to 0 for a half.
That's right. They played incredible the first half.
Yeah. So I mean, you can cherry pick it however you want, right? They had just their best half of the season, maybe slowing down a really explosive Vikings.
See what I got to deal with every day with these guys. What kind
we
of
don't
logic
speak
is
every
this?
day.
What kind of logic is this? Here's their logic, right? This is what I got to deal with Nate and Jack. Here's their logic, right? Well, they had a really good defense in the first half and shut them out, even though in the second half they gave up 8 touchdowns and they gave up the biggest lead in the history of the NFL ever. But they did shut them out in the first half when Minnesota turned the ball over five times. See, this is the logic that I have to deal with on a daily basis. Just so you can feel sorry for me.
We're running at 57% winning percentage for the season.
I'm at 50%.
You might be at 50.
I'm at 50.
I haven't updated the standings in a while because I'm a little worried that you may have dipped back down to 47.
I'm exactly at 50. Well, you can't put ties in the percentage. Pushes don't go in the percentage. So you figure my percentage at under 50 because you take the
ties do you have? How many?
5 ties. I have 5 ties. And so what he does is he takes the ties and puts them in as not wins. And so I get under 500. You have to throw the ties out like it's not a game. It's called a push. It's like you bet and you get your money back.
See,
that's a push.
Nate and I don't have to worry about that because we actually win. So we don't have this whole grand theory about how to calculate the pushes. Because all we do is win,
you guys
whereas
are just
all
jealous.
you do is lose.
You know what? Jack and Nate.
Jealous of what? You can't pick a game.
You know, I'm coming down the stretch. I'm going to blow you both out. So you got to
running out of weeks. We've been having these conversations about week 4.
Yeah,
we're running out of time. We got 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got plenty of time left on the clock. I got 2 weeks, and then
Then
There aren't that many games in the playoffs. Like what?
I got playoffs. I'm going to run the table in the playoffs.
2.5 weeks and you're back at Rosie's. So,
Rosie's promo is coming up next. You're live on Godzilla Wins. Go to GodzillaWins.com for all your expert picks, and it's actually a great site. Now, there's a couple things about GodzillaWins.com. Number one, my older son here, Jack, the big guy, runs the site, so it's really good. If you don't like it or if you have any complaints, text him. Just text him at my number, and I'll send it along.
Forward to all your
757-692-1710. Just text him, and or you can text 1-800-EAT-SOMETHING. That's about the answer you'll get. But he does run the site, and he's doing a good job. We call him the big guy because he's big. So he's a big guy. He's very, very big.
Okay.
He used to be a bouncer while he was
an unsuccessful bouncer,
working his way through college in a bar in Reno. If you ever been to this bar in Reno, this guy's a bouncer at. That's the last place you'd want to be a bouncer at. And anyway, I was there a couple times. It's how would you call that bar in Reno? It's since closed. How would you classify that bar?
It was a college bar.
Yeah, big college bar.
There's a lot of big guys in there that drove motorcycles.
Yeah. We took all types. I mean, we weren't kicking them out if they had motorcycles.
Right.
It was a pretty.
To be honest with you, and this is something that I've always told people, and Nate doesn't really agree with me as much. I think bikers, when I was a bartender and a server, I think they are some of the best people to serve. They're always super friendly. They bring a ton of people. They tip really well. It kind of depends on if we're talking like biker gangs. I mean, the real actual gangs, those guys are super nice because they're always in control. I guess sometimes you get some rowdy ones that, but yeah, I mean, I love bikers. I love serving bikers. They're great. I mean, they always took care of me.
Well, that's the main thing. We got Nate Perry with us, part of our Godzilla Wins team. Go to GodzillaWins.com. Sign up there. All you have to do is sign up for our newsletter. We don't inundate your inbox with it, but here's what you do. Once you sign up for that, you sign up for our $5,000 giveaway sweepstakes, which will be given away at the end of April. Some lucky winner is going to win $5,000. No obligation. You have to do anything but sign up, put your email in. You're automatically registered to win $5,000. Somebody's going to win it at the end of April. I hope it's you. Second prize, steak knives. First prize, $5,000. $5,000 giveaway. Just go to GodzillaWins.com. GodzillaWins.com. Plus, we're going to open this up for phone calls. And that is the phone number is 888-480-JOHN, 888-480-5646. And Chris is pissed from Massachusetts. He got bounced today from 3 to 5. So he sends me this text. He says people are just angry. Give your record-picking elections. I think I'll just throw my money up a wild hog's ass and yell suey. Well, you know what? Here's your choice. Listen to Godzilla Wins and then bet the other team. If you're so sure my picks are so bad, dude, then just listen to the show, write down my picks, bet the other team, and then you can retire and you're good to go, right?
It seems like all he'll do is push 100 games.
Yeah. It's just a good way to move money around and keep it all back. Yeah.
You guys are, you know what? You guys are, I sit here on the air giving you my expert picks for years. I've been averaging 30 games over 500 for years. Right now, I'm at 500. And as far as my election picks are concerned, are those the picks where the election was stolen? Because if you take out stealing, I'm like 100% because they all got stolen. But, yeah. And I did predict Oz was going to win, and he did win the primary, and then they stole it. So, whatever, dude. But
just like the Rams stole that victory.
888-480-JOHN. You know what? Haters will hate. It's okay.
You're the only one hating.
Haters will hate.
We're just trying to.
Haters will hate. That's what they do. But I know it's tough picking it against me on Godzilla Wins. 888-480-JOHN.
To be honest with you, we do get some comments sometimes that I have to moderate.
Like what?
They'll be like, "Oh, John is so bad at this." And we'll get a comment after the week. It'll say, "You suck, John." So maybe.
You know what?
You're about to get hot though. 2 more weeks.
I am going to get. I'm going to get
Season will be
red.
over.
March
I'm
Madness
going
is
to
gonna be
get
great.
red hot. I'm going to get red hot. We're going to the top of the hour, though. And but when we get back, because we got college coming at the bottom of the hour, but we got lots of games coming up here. We got Bears, Lions, Panthers, Bucks, Dolphins, Patriots. Tua's out maybe for the season. We're going to long talk about that. Chris says, now I'm signing up for Godzilla Wins. I'm going to win that 5K. Boy. Arizona at Atlanta. Oh, my God, that's a stinker. And San Francisco at the Raiders. We're going to talk about that at the end of Derek Carr. All that coming up here on Godzilla Wins. I want to thank Michael Coleman for running the show back there in the studio. John Fredericks, Jack Fredericks, the big guy, and Nate Perry, your Godzilla Wins team here on Getter Live. We will be right back on the John Fredericks Media Network. Stay with us.
Not sure about the over-under or how many points to lay? Let Godzilla lead the way. You're listening to the radio show for winners, Godzilla Wins, exclusive on the John Fredericks Media Network.
For entertainment purposes only.
Well, we're back on this special edition of Godzilla Wins 3 to 5 today, time of the John Fredericks Media Network. Thanks for joining us from all over the country and being us on our app and everything else. Also on Getter Live. Check us out there. Keep the comments coming on Getter Live. Of course, follow me at 5 o'clock, Steve Bannon in the War Room. He's live. He's always live. I took the week off except for today. We're live in Nashville, Tennessee, going to the Titans game tonight. So it is Thursday night football. We've already been over that with our picks there. But look, guys, we're getting in the home stretch, and it's now you need us more than ever, as they say. So you want to go to GodzillaWins.com. That's GodzillaWins.com for all of our picks. You can get them right there. With me, my older son, the big guy, Jack Fredericks, is here. He runs that site. He's the editor. Senior contributor Nate Perry with us from Reno. Came into Nashville for that, so the gang's all here. Our younger guy, Jack's little brother, Joseph, is doing what Joseph does between three. What's Joseph doing?
He's at the gym.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Have a juice or something, some clean juice that he's like really locked in about. It's like amped up for this like week.
The exact opposite of how we vacation.
He's going to get a clean juice at the Clean Juice Bar.
Yeah, that's
which
right.
he scoped out and found.
Oh yeah, he's very excited. Wheatgrass shot or whatever he's going to get after his 45-minute high intensity.
No, it's like 3 hours he's down there working out.
Yeah,
so yes, I don't know what he does. An hour of stretching he does.
Yeah, he does an hour and he does like 30 or 40 minutes of yoga at the end.
Yeah,
there's a ton of yoga. So he doesn't really.
What does the yoga do?
Builds core strength, builds all sorts of strength. Those guys who do yoga are incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Not for you.
Yeah, no, not for me.
Now look, I do it sometimes. Big guy doing yoga, yeah. I don't know. It's not for me either, but I got the little mat.
Well, you were strong enough today to help me out of the Uber.
Yeah, that takes a lot of. That's like Guinness Book of World Records.
I was in this little car, and I really couldn't maneuver my way out of it without his help. So it's all good, though. I feel better, never felt better in my life, and I'm looking forward to a great 2023. But we're back to football, and we'll talk about tires in a minute. That's a new black gold. That's coming. But you can go to GodzillaWins.com, get everything there. Okay, Nate, Jack with us. We got some really good games, and we got a couple of clunkers, but we're going to go through them all like we always do. Bears, Lions. You can't bet the Bears. I said that a week ago, and I got burned, right? I said I can't bet the Bears, and what happens? So they're +6 going into Detroit. What's going on with the Lions? I mean, you look at them 1 week, they're scoring points, they're moving the ball, they look like a playoff team, and then they go to Carolina, put up a stinker. What is going on with the Lions, Nate?
I still think they're a good team. I'm willing to look at the Panthers game as sort of an outlier. And it's also Detroit's defense was really bad to start the season. They got a little better, and then maybe now they're regressing back to what they are, which is probably a below average defense. So I'm not really willing to give up on the Lions. I still think the Lions have a real shot to make the playoffs. So I like the Lions here myself if I'm thinking about it, just because I don't think that Chicago is the type of team that can keep up with Detroit's offense, and I don't think they're the team that exploits defense. I mean, Chicago averages like 15 points a game. Like, that's not a team that's gonna run all over Detroit. So I like the Lions here to win. I actually like the Lions to make the playoffs. I think I still believe in the mojo with the Lions.
So -6 in Detroit. You like the Lions.
Yep.
I mean, I like the Lions too. I think last game was an outlier. They haven't played better football. The Bears are going nowhere. Their defense, which was not bad at the first couple of games of the season, has just turned into a complete sieve. And again, team with nothing to play for. I guess maybe the number one pick if they keep losing, if they tank, which I'm not sure that even happens in the NFL anymore. But Lions are -6. I see a blowout here at home, Jack.
Oh, I kind of want to take the Bears.
Why?
Do it.
I don't know. They because every time we agree on something, the opposite happens. So
that's true.
That always makes me nervous. Every time we're high-fiving our locks, we get demolished. It's a divisional game. It's 6 points. I mean, the Panthers are good, so it's not like the Lions got just beat by a bad team. Carolina, I think, is going to make the playoffs. But I think 6 points is too much to lay in a divisional game where these teams like to spoil the other team. They just do. If it were Green Bay, I'd be nervous. I mean, it's too many points to lay, especially for the Lions, who, even though they're really good, figure out ways to make it really difficult to win a football game, even though the defense has been playing incredible. And they have a good offense. But we didn't see that on display last week. I'll go ahead and take the Bears -6, just a divisional, or a +6, just a divisional game. I got a feeling this will be closer. I'm not saying the Lions won't win. I think they will. But I don't think they're going to win by 6.
Yeah, and I don't hate your analysis. And it's important to note that Chicago's their best when they're running the ball, right? Fields is back, and that's what Carolina did to them. They just ran the ball. So there's definitely a formula for Chicago. I don't hate that analysis. Yeah.
So we got the Lions -6. Jack's got the Bears +6. Let's get to Panthers at Bucks.
Yes.
Who ever thought, after they fired Matt Rule, who was a complete disaster, their coach, and they got rid of McCaffrey, and it was a fire sale, right? No quarterback.
They were tanking, yeah.
It was a fire sale. It was next year. They got Wilkes in, who's really not a star. Didn't really have a big name or anything. He was, I think, the assistant coach or defensive coordinator or something. They elevate him to coach. They get rid of McCaffrey, and now week 17, they're playing in Tampa Bay. +3 for the division championship, for the division lead. I mean, it's almost hard to fathom in fact, I remember, Nate, when Rule went down, we both said he would be out before Halloween. That was probably our biggest right thing we did this season. You said that you faded them at 5.
Oh my God.
5 total wins.
Yeah,
five total wins, and now they got what, 9 or 8 or something.
Yeah.
They're going to Tampa Bay. 6. They're going to Tampa Bay. And they're only a 3-point underdog, and Tampa had to pull that game out. What was that game? Monday night. That was just. I mean, you look at this Bucks team and you can't figure out how this team wins. They're just no good.
They aren't. They're not good, but the defense is okay, and they got touchdown Tommy. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, it's just Tom Brady magic is the only way they win. There's no stats that support that they're a good team. There's really nothing that they do particularly well, but they just win, and it's annoying. And it's really hard to handicap just because there's no quantifiable reason why they win.
Yeah, they don't cover.
They never
cover. I mean, I laid, 7.5 last week, and I was never in the game. I mean, there was no way they were ever going to win that game by 8.
I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure they're like 3 or 4 and 11 against the spread. And a lot of that is because they're supposed to be better than they are, and Vegas keeps having them as a favorite, not 1 or 2 points, but 3, 4, 5 points, and they win games by 2 points or they lose. So they don't cover at all. I like, what's the money line for the Carolina?
Plus 130.
Yeah, I'm taking the money line there, Carolina. I don't want the points. Carolina has to win out to make the playoffs. I think they're right now playing better football than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, their strategy, just like Nate said, the Tom Brady magic, they just keep these teams, like they keep their offense in it. They never give up more than 18, 19 points. They may give up a touchdown in the first half, whatever. They always tighten up. And then Brady's got, a quarter to kind of score 2 touchdowns. That's easy for him. I just think the Panthers are going to run up the score here. I think that they're firing on all cylinders. And I need them to win the next 2 games and get in the playoffs because I took them at 18-1 to win the NFC South because I kind of felt like it's pretty much right after they fired Rule. And I picked them to win the division like way back a long time ago. I just think they're pretty good.
In our first show, you did that when we were making predictions before the season started.
I was thinking about how many of my predictions were right.
Well, you picked the 49ers
I picked the
to go to the
Niners as well.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did. And I had the Panthers winning that division.
You had Jacksonville winning the AFC South.
No, I had the Colts. That was a bad one. And I had the Ravens, which is not so bad, but Cincinnati's just good. However, that division's not locked up either. We'll talk about that in a little bit because the Ravens are 10-5 and the Bengals are 11-4 or something. And the Bengals got a big Monday night matchup, I believe, this week.
Yep.
That's a big game against Buffalo.
So who's your pick?
Panthers money line plus 130. Don't even take the points. You don't need them because the Panthers going to roll.
Okay, Nate, what do you think?
Here's the juicy play, right? So if you like the Panthers to win this week, then you probably like the Panthers to just win the division, right? They have a real clear path they win this week.
That's right.
So what you could do to get yourself a little bit better odds, if you like them to win outright, go ahead and take them to win the division. They're still plus 450 to win the division. So just go ahead and make that bet if you like them this week. Get you better odds, get you almost 4 times as good odds. I think you just take them to win the division if you like them. For the purposes of this, I like Carolina plus the 3. They're just a better team. They're just playing better than Tampa.
What Nate just said is interesting. If you go to DraftKings, which we'll talk about that in a minute, again, if you want to bet the Panthers to win this game and you think they're going to win, if they win this game, they're going to win the division, right? So
they'll probably win the division.
Well, who do they play next week?
Tampa only has to win one more game.
Yeah,
I imagine they play the Saints.
Tampa has to win, but
I imagine they play the Saints next week.
I think they do.
The Saints.
I'm looking it up right now.
So if Tampa loses and beats the Saints, though, Tampa's in.
Well, Tampa plays Carolina and then they play Atlanta, and I believe that
they have to win both those games, or
no? Tampa has to win one. Carolina has to win both.
Both. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tougher.
Yeah, they play the Saints next week.
Yeah, because then if you're taking the 450 to win the division, you're hoping that Atlanta beats Tampa in a must-win game, which is remote.
No, they don't have to. That's what he's saying. He's saying if you like them not like money line at plus 130, then you like them to beat the Bucks. You might as well just take them at plus 450 because if you like them to beat the Bucks, you just like them to win the division. So the reason the odds aren't plus 130 is because they have to win 2 in a row. But if you like them well enough, you might as well just take them plus 450 because you believe that they're going to just win the next 2.
Because if they win out, they're in.
Yeah. They control their own destiny.
If they win out. So
Tampa,
if the Panthers win out,
with their,
so you're better off on DraftKings with the plus 450 to win the division.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, rather than to take the 130 to win the game, because then you figure they'll turn around the next week and beat New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Which they're at home in that game.
Right.
I think.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the better. That's 3 times better the odds.
Yep.
Smart bet. Look, I'm going to go with Tom Brady magic. I mean, I've seen this guy win too many games at the end. I mean, he's impossible to bet against in these games, just impossible. So I kind of like your thinking at the beginning. They hang around. Fourth quarter, Brady wins the game. So I'm going Tampa Bay minus the 3. Jack's pick was Carolina money line. Nate?
I like the Panthers plus 3.
I like Panthers plus 3. Okay, let's get on my favorite game here in the weekend. Dolphins-Pats in New England. Dolphins, after blowing this game to the Packers, Tua's out again. Maybe had another concussion. Threw 3 interceptions in the last 3 possessions, 3 in a row. They go to New England. New England's minus 3 in this game. They lost 2 games they should have won. New England right now should be in totally control of this wild card berth. But the game they blew against the Raiders on the lateral, then their first and goal, they come back down 22-0. Their first and goal at the 5, they fumble. That game's over. Those are 2 wins they should have had. I I don't know how Belichick feels about these two games, but they're behind him. You got a very shaky Miami team coming in that really should have won that game last week, and then Tua just imploded, and now he's out. So the first question is, what is going on with Tua, Jack?
Concussion protocol again. They say he had a concussion and that the Dolphins ignored it.
Again?
Well, that's, I believe, I don't want to misrepresent, but it seems like he had a concussion, and I believe he's out for concussion protocol.
Yeah, so the Twitter sleuths kind of found the hit because it looked in the third quarter he took a hit that's looked like all the other concussions he's had, where he just falls for whatever reason. Whenever Tua gets hit, he just pivots in such a way that he falls flat on his back and smacks his head on the turf, and that's exactly what people were looking at. And then he got up, shook out the cobwebs, and threw 3 interceptions afterwards. So it was clear that he was not processing things at a high level during the game, but he didn't report symptoms until after the game. So again, it's this question for Miami, like, what are they doing? How do you miss these hits? How do you let him stay out there? This is his second concussion of the season, but all of us know that he's at least 3, if not more.
Yeah, I mean, probably more than that. And at some point, you kind of have to just worry about the young man's safety out there playing quarterback. We all know he wants to play, and I'm not saying that the Dolphins are being nefarious. It was sort of the reason they had the concussion discussion was because he started throwing all those picks. So it's not like the hit was totally.
It wasn't as violent as some of the other ones.
No, but at the same time, he's out for concussion protocol. So they should have flagged that immediately. They have concussion spotters. They have guys like the NFL has people who do that as their job. They try to find concussions and make sure that those guys are looked at. So another sort of failure by the Dolphins. As far as this game, what's the spread?
3. It's New England -3.
New England -3. Nate might be able to find this for us at some point. I believe Belichick's record against the spread against the Jets is, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he owns the Jets. All he does is beat the Jets.
He owns the Jets, yeah.
So I think you got to take the Patriots just based on that trend.
But he's playing the Dolphins.
Oh,
Dolphins actually are sneaky good against.
Oh yeah, no, that's
right.
right. Yeah, I keep thinking they're playing the Jets this week. Right, the Dolphins. Yeah, so I don't know. I what's it, Bridgewater?
It's gonna be. It looks like Bridgewater. I mean, it could be Skylar Thompson. They haven't announced anything.
I take the Dolphins +3 for sure. They're always beating the Patriots. They've been doing that for years. You know, even when the Patriots win in Super Bowls, the Dolphins always upsetting them. I'll take Miami +3.
I love New England in this game. I told you guys at the beginning of the season when this first concussion thing hit and they rolled the guy back out in the field and his hand turned into a claw. This is a sick, disgusting franchise I don't want nothing to do with. Worse than the Cardinals, as far as I'm concerned. Cardinals just suck and their practices suck and I hate their coach and they baby that little quarterback that plays Nintendo games and they give him candy on the sidelines like a little loser he is, a little wiping his butt guy. But the Dolphins are worse because they're putting this guy at risk. They're putting this young man at risk. It's just a disgusting organization. When the Twitter sleuths found that hit, and you saw it on Twitter, right? I mean, that was a legit hit to the head.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can see his head bounce off the turf.
Well, your head bounces off the turf. The first thing you do is take him out of the game and put him in the tent, right? I mean,
that's what you would hope.
Look, yeah. Let me just ask you this: what was that? What if that was your son out there? What if that was your brother out there? Right? He's an athlete. What if Miami was doing that to Joseph and you saw his head banging around and he comes back in and throws 3 interceptions to like guys there was no receivers there, right? The guy obviously has got a problem. And I can't stand their little weasel coach running around with the iPad. Never played a down of Sandlot Pop Warner football in his life. Never picked up a weight. Can't do a push-up. And this guy's running around. Hey, give me Belichick. Give me New England at home, 5 degrees. I'll lay the 3. Give me the Pats to really take it to this team. This is my best bet of the week. I love New England -3. Is that obvious?
I would be shocked if Bill Belichick can do a push-up. So I don't know if that's
He's
the way
my
we
age, and I
measure
do. Hey, I'll drop right down now. I'll do 50 now.
That's great radio right there.
I'll drop and do 50.
Just for a little bit of fact checking here. John has been saying that Mike McDaniel's never played a down of organized football for the entire season. and I had my doubts about whether or not this was true. But I didn't say anything because John seemed so confident when he
doesn't
said
look
it.
like he played football.
He played wide receiver at Yale.
Oh yeah, what do you expect? Ivy League little punk.
Yeah, but he played football.
Yeah, you've been saying him play in the Sandlot.
Yeah.
Like in the
They
backyard.
It didn't sound like he was just like in the chess club in high school.
They kick sand in his face at the beach. He's got forget it. Give me Mike Vrabel. Give me somebody that played football. Like who was our offensive line coach that played? Who was
Mike
that?
Munchak.
Give me Mike Munchak.
Munchak never won a game.
So what? He played football. He's offensive line. Give me old school, right? Give me
Mike McDaniel.
Give me
played
Mike
football.
Ditka. Give me
played college football, Division I or like FCS level college football.
Give me Mike Ditka.
Do you claim that
Yale
you
football.
played college baseball? Did you play college baseball?
I mean, look, I played D3. That's like a joke. Okay, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Come
All
on.
right. So okay. All right.
You know, I mean, I was a walk-on for heaven's sake.
I feel like I've heard you classify yourself as a college baseball player before.
Well,
And I think for the sake of this argument, you're backtracking so you don't get you put in a box where you have to acknowledge that Mike McDaniel played real football.
I had a devastating forkball.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Devastating. Yeah. I struck your brother out on it.
He's a
twice.
pitcher.
That's it, regardless. I like the Patriots -3. Okay, let's go to Brent.
Are we going to get to my pick? I like the under.
Oh, the under.
We
There you
forgot about Nate.
Yeah.
Nate, what's your pick?
I like the under here. I mean, New England just can't
Why
score.
do you guys
Miami.
bet that? Why do you guys bet? Like, let me just ask you something. How much time do I have? Let me just ask you guys a question. I get the prop bets, right? I don't bet them, but I get it. Like, somebody throws so many quarterback touchdowns or something, receiving yards. And you had a good pick the other day. The Jacksonville tight end getting all those.
Evan
throws.
Ingram, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good bet. I remember
I know.
that.
Good for me.
But like when you bet an over-under game, what do you root for in a game? Like you're watching a game and you're betting under. Like are you just rooting for like defensive stops?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's awesome.
I mean, how fun is that?
It's a
That's
lot of
not
fun.
fun.
It doesn't always have to be fun. I mean, that's not like. Yeah, I like making money when I bet. That's sort of essentially that's the goal,
but it should
right?
be too. It should,
so
you should have
so
some
it should be fun. But yeah, but it's fun making money. It's a lot more fun
So what
making
do
money
you
than
want
losing
like
money.
3 and outs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just tons of them.
Just try
you
it.
just-
It's fun. You just sit there and you're just like, come on.
Yeah, you don't even have to
Denver.
root for a team.
Yeah,
You just
it's
say
awesome.
like, just drop the ball, please. That's
Right.
all. Yeah,
And it comes down to weird stuff at the end. Yeah, it's fun. You know, you're always rooting for the kicker to like whiff
yeah.
It's fun.
Just missing an extra point.
or the over. You know, you
Yeah, the over
you take
is a
the-
lot of fun to bet because then
Yeah.
you're just every time someone scores, woo, great.
Yeah, you take the over in that Rams game, you would have been just loving it.
It was over by halftime.
Yeah, then the game's over.
Yeah, then you just turn it off, go to bed.
It's with the spread, it's never over.
Never.
We saw that with the Colts, who, by the way, covered in that 33-0 blown lead.
Yeah, they did cover.
still
But
But they
covered,
made it a little
but
sweaty.
They made it really hard.
I bet Minnesota in that game -3.5. So, all right. So you like the under? What was that? How many is that?
I like the under 41.
Whatever. Okay. Under over. But that Ingram pick was good. That got my attention.
Yeah, well, it was great analysis. Just
Yeah.
go to GodzillaWins.com. You can read all my analysis.
It was a good analysis. But I tell you the other thing, you got tires. You got to get tires for your car, right? Jack, you got to get tires. Tires are the. Do you know, Nate? Do you need tires at Reno?
Oh, I have so many tires already from TireGet.com.
Target.com because tires are the new black gold.
They are.
Remember-
The universal equivalent.
Now, when I went to your house,
There's like the new cryptocurrency, just decentralized. Everybody needs tires.
Yeah.
You know,
it is
we're-
a new crypto.
Yeah,
Tires
we're
are new
off,
crypto.
We're off crypto.
you got to have them.
We're off crypto for the time being.
So we like,
You
we
gotta
like
have tires because you got to have them, right? There's things in life you have to have: toilet paper, tires, right? Those are two staples,
Yep.
and it's like the new crypto is tires. That's why you want to go to TireGet.com, put a promo code Godzilla, get 10% off. Now go to Jack's house, which is in rural Mississippi in the Delta, right? What'd you call that? Rural
Mississippi, yeah.
rural Mississippi. Not a lot between his house and life. That's what you say that. There's not a lot. Like you can't like go out and go to the corner bar. You'd have to drive like an hour.
Well, it's
to Clarksdale.
Okay, but it's an agricultural community, so
Yes.
you know we've got soybean and cotton, and the Delta produces most of the rice that Americans consume. Solar energy, all sorts of stuff going on, just not people.
There's no people there.
Yeah, but lots of soybean.
You go to Jack's house, and on the left side of the house, the best thing about his house, on the left side is what's the name of the town you're in again?
Casilla.
Casilla is the Casilla Fire Department.
Yeah, Paynes. Well, it's the Paynes Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice building. Lawn is manicured, kept very, very, very nice. And then next to that
we don't, yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, and you go from there, but it's kind of remote. Yeah.
Very, very rural, very remote. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Unless there's a fire. And then, but there is that pizza place down the road.
Yeah, 35 minutes away. But yeah, up the road, And the thing about the fire station is I have a horn, like the tornado horn, in my house. It's hooked up. I guess someone at some point from Paynes lived in that house who was involved in the fire department. So when you get the tornado sirens, one of them comes from my house, which is horrible if you live there because it's loud.
What is Hazel, your dog, doing? I think
she doesn't like it. We get in the closet. We're never gonna miss a tornado. We're in the
They're
closet.
not sneaking up on you.
Yeah, we're in the closet all the time. We're we're in there
just
before
sit in the
anybody
bathtub.
else. Yeah. So, kind of.
So Hazel knows when that thing goes off, she just goes
right to the closet, and we sit in there for 30 minutes
until it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to Browns Commanders. Cleveland, horrible game last week against New Orleans. Now going to Washington. Washington's -2.5. I'm going to just start here. Look, Commanders have lost two in a row. Two tough games. Tough game against the Giants. They had the bench Heineke, and part of it was they were in position to get a touchdown to win the game, and I guess they had an illegal procedure or something, and that was a tough game to lose. Then another tough game a week ago. Now to get in the playoffs, they have to win this game. They're at home. Not that matters at FedEx Field, but they're -2.5. I like Washington here. And they got rid of Heineke, so they're back with Wentz. So I'm gonna go with the Commanders. Nate,
I like the under here. The Browns have been horrible with Deshaun Watson offensively. The offense has averaged. Their numbers are a little bit inflated because they've had some defensive touchdowns, but just with pure offense, they're averaging less than 10 points a game with Deshaun Watson under center. Their offense is just not good. The Commanders can say basically the same thing. They're not very good either offensively. Obviously, if they're
but
shuffling,
they do have a good
around.
defense.
They do have a good defense, so that's why I like the under here.
So do the Browns.
Yeah.
The Browns have a good defense.
So under 40 points, these teams don't get there. It's not going to be a shootout. It's just going to be ugly football.
It's 40.
It's 40.
Yeah, I take the under too. If the point total was like 36, which to be honest with you, I'm surprised it didn't move down to like 37, 38. A lot of times those will start to move like that. It may move earlier in the week. You may want to take the under at 40 now, but I definitely like the under. Myles Garrett and that defense in Cleveland is incredible. They held the Ravens to 3 points 2 weeks ago, and Washington can't score. Washington has a good defense too. I'm tired of picking Washington. All they do is break my heart. For whatever reason, I just loved them this year, and they don't cover a lot of games. So I'm going with the under is 40 as well.
Okay, now we got to get to the worst game on the card. St. Louis, what is it? Arizona Cardinals go to Atlanta. Atlanta's 3. Does anybody really care, Jack?
I do.
Why?
Because I love the Falcons. That's my team. So first thing I want you to do is go to GodzillaWins.com and read my Falcons column. I do post-game analysis on the Falcons. So if you're an Atlanta fan, you can go there and find those. They're pretty extensive. I take a lot of notes during the Falcons game because I want that column to be at the very least detailed. So go there and read that. I like the Falcons here. If someone can give me the spread, I'll tell you why. They're not as bad as their 5-11 record or 5-10 record shows. There's a lot of games that they could have won. So the Falcons, what do you got to lay 3 points?
Yeah, Falcons -3.
Yeah, Falcons -3. I think they're at home as well. Arizona stinks. They're a mess. They don't have Kyler for the rest of the season. So Atlanta's going to run the ball. They're going to control the clock. They eat up a lot of game clock. They got 2 running backs who are really good. And I'm telling you, Desmond Ridder didn't look that bad last week, and I don't think he's going to look bad this week. I think this is an easy play. I think the Falcons in a meaningless game cover the spread and win by a touchdown pretty easy.
I agree with you. I like the Falcons. I like them at home. I like them running the football. Cardinals are playing out the string. They have no quarterback. They played competitive week, last Monday night at home and, got beat by Brady. I'm going to go with the Falcons -3. Nate?
I guess I like the Cardinals just because I just can't lay points with Atlanta. They just don't win very often. So I'll take the Cardinals here. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury's got a pretty good record as an underdog.
Yeah, he does.
You're getting +3 at just even money, +100. I just take the +3, I guess.
As much as
neither team has anything to play for, so you may as well just take the points.
As much as we malign Kingsbury, he's pretty good as an underdog.
He's 16-5-2 on the road as an underdog.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's
for a
outrageous.
guy who sucks.
He totally sucks.
15-3-1 against coaches that haven't won a Super Bowl as an underdog.
Wow, that's a weird stat.
It is a weird stat.
Yeah,
15-3-1. Well, he's going to get fired.
1.
I mean,
against like quote unquote like bad coaches that haven't won a Super Bowl
against the spread.
Yeah, as an underdog.
Well, Arthur Smith to me is an incredible coach, so I'm gonna throw that one out the window because I love Smith. I'm not a big fan of the defensive coordinator Dean Pease doesn't blitz enough, but I love Smith. Architect of the running game in Tennessee forever. But yeah, I mean he hasn't won a Super Bowl, so.
I mean, see how far Tennessee's offense went down with since Arthur Smith left.
It's been hard. It's been hard for them to find that
score anything.
Success. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Smith's a good. He's
a good offensive mind. Yeah, he's a good play caller. Much better than Todd Downing. Okay, so yeah, I mean, Atlanta. I mean, this is a game that what you guys say earlier. You bet to make money, right? Okay, I get it. Well, if you're going to do that, then I just don't see why you wouldn't bet Atlanta here at home. I mean, what is the Cardinals playing for? They're not playing for anything, and Kingsbury's going to get fired, right? So, like, kind of why even bother? That's kind of the way I look at it, guys. All right, we're going to get to let's get to the next game here on the card. San Francisco at Raiders. Lots to talk about here. San Francisco going to Vegas. Raiders 9.5-point underdog. They basically just gave up on Derek Carr. And what they did to him, they benched him for the last 2 games of the season. And the reason they benched him is because if they cut him at the end of the season, they'll owe him $5 million. If his contract says if he gets hurt at the end of the season, if he's hurt going into the next season, he gets something like what?
$40 million or something? Yeah.
$40 million.
Yeah.
So it's like they haven't decided what to do with him. They don't want him to get hurt, and Mark Davis, the owner, risked a $40 million. So they're going to go with the $5 million if they decide to just release him. So they get him off the right. They put him on injured reserve, and then Derek Carr says, "Look, I talked to McDaniel, the coach there, and it's best for me not even to show up with the team." So he's not even with the team. This is bad, guys. I mean, I don't care. Whether you're a Raiders fan, you like Mark Davis, you don't like Mark Davis. He made some bad moves with coaches. But this is really bad for the Raiders organization to do this to a quarterback who has been with you through thick and thin for many years. He holds every passing record. You think of the Raiders, you think of Stabler, blew him out. Think of the Raiders, you think of Darryl LaMonica, blew him out. He holds every record. He cried on national TV when his team was losing. Cried. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I never made fun of him.
He
I
loves
just said
the team.
He loves his team. And guys were quitting on him, and he was pissed. And then he cried. I mean, this is a real man here. And what the Raiders did to him is it's really bad, but it's business. I mean, this is a business. They're running a business. Mark Davis runs a business. And but if
sort of.
He runs a business like a cheapskate weirdo.
He's a cheapskate weirdo. Couple of the fact he's
not running the business very well.
He's a weird looking dude, isn't he? Every time I see him, I'm like,
haircut. Yeah.
So that's what I always think when I see him. I'm like, get a haircut.
Part of his shtick is that weird bowl cut he has.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But I mean, I see both sides, but I don't know how they bring Derek Carr back after this. I don't know how you say
you can't.
I mean, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
What you've told him is you're not very important to us.
He left the team as not to be a distraction. So he's not even with the team anymore.
Yeah.
So he's gone. They're
He
moving
left the
on.
team.
They've been having this discussion. Gruden tried to get him out of there too. They don't like him. I mean, I like him just as a guy.
You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they were.
Gruden didn't him either.
Yeah, they're always trying to kind of move him. Then they go, okay, well, Derek be all right. And he's got the most interceptions of anyone in the league. So what you need to do is go to DraftKings and find some futures on interception leaders for quarterbacks and bet someone else because he's leading right now. So everybody else is, he's the odds-on favorite, but he's not going to play anymore. So find someone who's, plus 150, the next guy who's probably going to throw 2 more picks the next couple games, and it's basically like free money in my opinion. Now I say that, and nobody will throw another interception the rest of the year.
That's not true.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's to me that's the best play in this game is a futures play on the interception leader. But
what does this mean for the Raiders' future? Because it's not like they have a backup sitting in the wings. It's kind of like Tennessee. Like, what are they going to do with Tannehill? I mean, Malik Willis, they already gave up on him. It's his third start. They already put him back on the pine.
Yeah.
So what does this mean for the Raiders as a franchise?
They're in that really tricky spot, right, where they're good enough that they can win some games, which means that they'll never get their franchise quarterback. And that's it's just football.
They're in the
right?
7, 8, 9 win hole.
Yeah.
And if people that listen to us don't know what this means, you play 17 games. If you're winning 7, 8, or 9 games a season, you're never getting a number 1 pick. You're down close. You're near the bottom in the first round. How many teams? 32 teams, right? You're down to like in the 20s, and so you're never good enough to win and get the big prize, but you're never bad enough to get stockpile picks. I mean, I'm a Titans fan, as Jack knows, and we went through this.
We all know. Everyone
we went
who
through
listens
this.
to you knows you're a Titans fan.
I love my Titans. I got my Titans shirt on. We went through this for years. 8 and 8, 7 and 9, 9 and 7, 8 and 8, 9 and 7. 5-year string of this, and you just stay there because you're good enough to win 8 games. You never get enough picks, and if you don't like playing in the free agent market, you got salary cap issues. You never really get out of that middle of the pack.
Vegas is in a tough spot too because I don't think Josh Jacobs wants to return. He's their big star running back.
It sort of just seems like a little bit of a mutiny, right? I'm not really sure this is on Derek Carr. This feels like Josh McDaniels just losing the locker room in a big way. It seems like the players like Derek Carr.
They do. I think they love Derek Carr. Devonta Adams went to go play with him. People like Carr. I think he's a good leader.
He's a good leader.
I think McDaniels has probably lost the locker room, but they can't fire McDaniels because they're out of money.
Because of Gruden.
Something
No,
like
they're
that.
paying him all that money.
They pay him. I don't know, whatever it was. I know Mark Davis a while ago said we can't fire him because we're not solvent as a company. Like we don't have the millions of dollars.
It's just
to buy,
ludicrous. Like how's that a thing? Like you own an NFL team and you're like I don't know. Like let's try and cut some corners here. Like don't use many paper towels in the building.
Yeah,
like what are we doing?
They never have any cash. I guess they go over the P&L. Like just they got to cut this expense. I don't know. We don't use the subscription anymore. Cut it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like
Well,
more Gatorade in the locker room. Just drink water, guys. Where times are tight.
His father's got to be rolling over his grave with all this nonsense going on.
I don't know how Al Davis, who just spent money on everyone for forever, years, and then his son is like the biggest cheapskate in the world. I don't understand how they could even be related.
Yeah,
I don't know, but they are. I'm taking the Niners to get back to the game, even at minus 9.5.
Me too.
I think the Raiders are kind of a mess, and I just love San Francisco, man. I don't care who their quarterback is. Kyle Shanahan is just so incredible at hiding the deficiencies at quarterback. They got so many playmakers, and the Ravens can get blown out. I mean, they do lose games pretty spectacular style, and I think they're not playing for McDaniels at all. I love the Niners here.
I agree with that. There might be. I know you had a conspiracy theory last week, Nate, that involved Nick Foles that kind of blew up in your face. But it was interesting listening to it, right? It just, that's how conspiracy theories are. They're not real. That's why they're called conspiracy theories. Yeah. But your conspiracy theory here on the Raiders might be real, is that basically there's going to be a revolt over what they did to Carr and they lay down.
I think it's possible. That being said, I still like 9.5. I mean,
I know,
the Niners are like, I mean, it's still Brock Purdy playing quarterback for the Niners. It just seems
Brock
like
Purdy's good.
Yeah, okay. I know, whatever. Like, their stats are good. But the Niners just seem so hot right now that at some point they're going to play a close game. I mean, there's no hotter team on the planet, but they just still don't feel real to me.
I'm going with the Niners. I'm going to lay the 9.5. Raiders are going to tank. It's going to be an LA game. It's going to be a Denver game. They're just going to tank. I think on principle, what they did to this man, they embarrassed him. I mean, beyond that, they humiliated him, and that's why he's not with the team. They really humiliated Derek Carr. You know, a guy that's given all this. It doesn't matter how many millions of dollars you make, you're still a human being. You have feelings, right?
Well, he left so as not to be a distraction. And
no, he did the right thing.
I mean, that's why they love him, because he does things for the team, I think.
So I don't want to be a distraction.
You know, so that's why he left. It wasn't like he stormed off.
No, he had a meeting with them, and he was mature, and he cried.
You know, I don't know why you're so obsessed with him crying. He cried once in a postgame.
Because real men cry.
Yeah, John's just really just talking about himself. He's like, he's real man cry.
Yeah,
I do cry.
On national television.
So when Derek Carr does it, just
I never
feels,
cried on national
validating.
TV that I remember.
You have.
Oh yeah, I did with Bannon. Yeah. That's right. Steve Bannon knows how to push all my freaking buttons.
Good thing we're on a sports show today.
Yeah, it's all good. We're not doing politics, but Steve is up in 17 minutes.
He's not going to do the
War Room.
He's not going to pick any games.
No, Steve bets my picks. That's why he's a winner.
God, that's why it's still working.
Steve Bannon loves Godzilla Wins. Loves it. Told me we should be doing this full time.
Yeah.
That's right.
That'd be awesome.
I know.
It's a lot of fun.
It is fun because we're good. And we give you the best analysis anywhere because we don't give you the BS, all the shtick that everybody else does. You go to these other sites, it's all shticky.
Fully
we don't
transparent.
give you shticky.
We're fully transparent. There's no paywall. There's not a lot of sites that you can go to for handicapping that is not going to hit you up for money at some point. They may give out 1 or 2 picks for free, but at some point they're going to say you need to be a member, go to my Patreon, whatever. Godzilla Wins is 100% free. There's no paywall. We just hand them out.
No, we'll never have one.
No,
never have one. You know what? If we can't sell advertisers, we don't have a business. That's what Mom says. And so we'll never have a paywall, so you can forget that. And the beauty about Godzilla Wins is we do it from a fan's perspective, right?
We try to.
It's really done. And the article's on there. If you go there every day and you follow sports or whatever, we don't give you like 10 pages of analytics and all that stuff. But we have all good writers. They're all writers. And but it's from a fan's perspective, which is, I think, why our company is very unique.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of what we do, we try to find really smart, good writers, but people who really love a team or 2 teams and can do a lot of really interesting analysis with those teams. So, some of our best and most successful columns are just super fans, basically. Some of them are fans of the sport. Some of them are fans of specific teams, but you can go there and scroll down a little bit on the homepage. You'll see some of those columns there. You read all about the Ravens, the Georgia Bulldogs, some Premier League stuff. It's all on there.
Yeah, it's all good, right? We're all here. We're all here together. So this is kind of fun for us. Being in Nashville Live all came up, and we're having a lot of fun. Got Nate Perry with us, who's our senior contributor, Jack's best friend in the world. Been with him forever. And we got, of course, my oldest son, Jack, the big guy, who's the editor of the site, who's been with enough through it, enough family tribulations, to say the least. Let's go. Especially when we had Thanksgiving dinner in the motel room with the toaster oven my mom bought me, where we had to strip the turkey in the bathroom sink. That'll go down forever in the annals of the family's history. Okay, let's get to Jets. I love the Jets this week going to Seattle, -2. I don't know if I love the Jets more. I love the Pats more, but I love the Jets. Okay, that stinker game they played last Thursday night where Jacksonville basically clowned them. I love the Jets coming back. Finally, they understand that Zach Wilson has got to go. He's not a quarterback. He's history. He's got to go. Kind of like Vrabel decided with Malik Willis, but it didn't take Vrabel 19 games. He's out. He's done with Willis. Mark White's back. Seattle They got off to a great start, and now they tanked. Now they're not even going to make the playoffs. Jets come in here, got the defense going. They played so bad on that Thursday night. I love the Jets here, -2 to win this whole game. Get themselves back in the playoff hunt. Jack.
Nate mortgaged so much of his life on the idea that the Seattle Seahawks were the best kept secret in the NFL. And the world around him is crumbling as we speak because they can't win a game. They can't cover. It's infuriating. On the other side, my dad loves the Jets, always has.
I'm a Titans fan.
Yeah, he's a Titans fan, but he's also kind of a secret Jets fan. If we went back and played the 17 weeks, he takes the Jets every week. Now they're pretty good, but he loves the Jets, so don't let him tell you any different. He's a Titans fan who may also be a secret Jets fan. We're not sure yet. We need a little bit more data on it. I like the Jets here as well because Seattle's not covering, and I love New York's defense. They're just so nasty. Seattle relies on Geno Smith in the passing game, and that's what the Jets eat up. But, the Jets have to score points, and sometimes they don't do that at all. They just don't score. They maybe kick a field goal or whatever. So hopefully Mike White gives them a little jolt. They're -2. I'd probably take the Seahawks at +3 if the line moved up to 3, but for right now, -2. I like the Jets. Nate's going to tell you why you take the Seahawks.
No, I'm done. I am done.
You're done
with the Seahawks. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
All right.
They're not going to make the playoffs. I'm going to be looking to pick up a 17th job just to pay for all these futures bets that I made on the Seahawks, and I'm just done with them. The Jets are just better, and Mike White is a huge upgrade. The Zach Wilson experiment did not go well. It looks like he's just done forever.
Cut him.
I think so.
They pretty much he's inactive.
Yeah, and
they need to cut him.
And here's like the fun stat about the Jets, just to hit you with some weird numbers. They're 27th in DVOA according to Football Outsiders, as an offense with Zach Wilson. 27th. They're 16th if literally anyone else plays quarterback.
For our audience what DVOA is.
It's an efficiency metric that they use. Yeah. So efficiency wise, they're a 27th ranked offense with Zach Wilson. They're 16th if just anyone else plays, just any other backup.
Flacco, White,
Streveler, anyone.
Streveler,
yeah,
our boy Streveler. Yeah,
anyone. They're 16th. So that just tells you sort of where they're at. So I think they're better. The Seahawks just look bad. I mean, the defense is horrible. They can't run the ball anymore. Geno Smith hasn't been as good playing against really good elite defenses. I think the Jets probably chew them up here. I like the under as well if you're looking for total play under 42.5. Play the Jets. I mean, this just screams just Jets roll. I mean, the Jets are still playing for a playoff spot, so take the Jets.
Yeah, they are, and they're good, especially with White as quarterback. They're much better. That defense is nasty. You got to take the Seahawks.
They're a real team. Here, yeah, I mean the Jets.
Seahawks are down.
Yeah, Jets. Right. I like the Jets.
Seahawks are down.
And but the Zach Wilson experiment, he's calling the experiment's over. Right. I mean, he's just got to get.
It's done.
Yeah.
He looks so
His
bad.
career might be over.
I think it is. He looks so bad on Thursday night. He looks so lost, and he can't make decisions. It's kind of like Malik. I mean, but Vrabel decided after the third game, this guy's not an NFL quarterback. They can't teach that. Like, I mean, that's when you give up on a quarterback like Malik Willis after the third game, they've come to the conclusion. These are professionals, Nate. They're professional evaluators, and they've come to the conclusion what he needs, we can't teach. He can't get there.
It's not a fair comparison. Malik Willis was a third-round draft pick out of Liberty. Zach Wilson was the second overall pick. They had to invest.
That's true.
I mean,
what Zach Wilson needs is a sports psychologist. Like his confidence is just ruined.
It's just
and he's going to play football again. Someone will sign him. There's such a quarterback desert right now. He'll get picked up. He'll be in a new city. I'm not sure.
Right. Look, we got to roll. We only got 10 minutes. We got like 15 games left. Vikings at Packers. Packers are -3.5. Vikings are playing for nothing. Right. They've already locked up the division. Packers on a roll right now. They win out. They're in. Rodgers going crazy. He's going to win these. He said he was going to win out, and he's 2 games from winning out. Packers -3 at home, -3.5. I love the Pack, Jack.
The Vikings never beat anyone by more than 1. That's all they do. They just come from behind and win by 1, and that's all they do. So yeah, I'm taking the Packers for sure.
-3.5. No, -3.5.
Packers are -3.5.
Yeah, -3.5. Jack.
Vikings. Let's go. Whoever the underdog is in this game, I'm taking that. Divisional game. Yeah, I like the Vikings. Never mind.
Nate?
I like the Packers here. the Packers just been playing great football. Aaron Rodgers been playing great football. The Vikings are still a fraudulent team. They're 12-3, but they just shouldn't be. They should not be 12-3.
No, they shouldn't.
They're a 500 team. So Packers just bet the hot team here. Don't fall into the trap looking at their records. Packers are better.
All right, Rams after that 54-point explosion or whatever it was, going to L.A. for the Chargers. Chargers now in the playoff hunt. They're -6.5. To me, you just can't bet the Rams here. I mean, the Chargers have to win this game. I know Baker Mayfield's having fun flinging the ball around. It's not going to be what he saw in Denver, which is a team that quit. So 6.5 is a lot in a game like this, but Chargers not going to lose this game. I like the Chargers -6.5.
Rams are always in these games. I don't care. They don't get blown out a lot except the Dallas game from earlier on. I think the Rams hang around here. I'm not saying they win, but I'm taking the underdog in this game because I just think that the Rams they just kind of hang around. And the Chargers don't blow anyone out. They're not they're okay. They're not beating teams by 40.
Well, they beat Indy last week 20-3.
Yeah,
that's a blowout.
Yeah, that's true.
Up by 17. So, all right, Nate.
Rams look like they care about football. Their win last week was meaningless, right? It was mostly a pride thing. They seem to be getting up for pride things. I like them here +6.5. I like them if you want to bet them on the money line. The Chargers don't have anything to play for. They're already in the playoffs. They already have a wild card spot in the playoffs. They're not going to win the division.
Yeah,
this game means
I don't
nothing
think
to
they
them.
can move in the wild card either.
Yeah,
I mean they're stuck at whatever number they're at.
So this looks like, the Rams seem motivated. I don't know if the Chargers are really going to be that motivated. So, but take the Rams here.
I like the Chargers. Steelers underdog +2.5 going to Ravens. Ravens still fighting for the division, -2.5. What's the story with Lamar Jackson?
He's going to play. I think he's playing this week.
Yeah, he's playing this week.
But on this show, when Mike Tomlin is an underdog, we take Mike Tomlin. So Steelers +2.5. The man's a beast. He's like Vrabel, but he's got better. He's got more numbers. So when Mike Tomlin's an underdog, you just take Mike Tomlin. Steelers +2.5.
Nate?
I like the Steelers +2.5 too, for basically those reasons. These games are always close. It's a divisional game. Tomlin as an underdog, this is a rah-rah spot for the Steelers. They've been playing pretty good football lately. This just feels like an ugly, match, just an ugly divisional AFC North game. I like the Steelers here too.
Ravens, Lamar Jackson back, better team. Ravens win this game handily, -2.5. Okay, now we get to January the 2nd. This is your game
Monday
there on
night.
Monday, right? Buffalo at Cincy. Here's a big game of the week. The Bills going to the Bengals. Bills are Bills are -1. I got to put my glasses on here. Bills are -1. Listen, guys, I'm not betting against the Bengals again until somebody beats them. So I'm just going to make this easy. I like the Bengals at home. I like Joey Burrow. I like the hot team. I like the way they're playing. Their defense is better than they were last season. And so I don't know if they're going to they got to hang on to win the division. I like the Bengals +1, Nate.
I like the Bengals too. This game is huge for both of them, right? Like this could be a potential AFC championship game that we're watching right now. The Bills are in control of their destiny. They're still fighting for a 1 seed. Both of them are still alive for a 1 seed. So this is a huge game. And, because of that, since he's at home, they've been just red hot lately. I mean, just hotter than a house of fire. So I'll just keep riding with the hot team. I love Joe Burrow. Let's go Bengals.
We're all in agreement here. I like the Bengals as well. The Bengals have the best record against the spread of any team this year, and the Bills don't really cover that much. If you think back to the last couple weeks, nobody believes the Bills are a 12-3 team. They just don't play that good, but they are a good team. They do win. They just don't cover. +1, take the point. Bengals cover all the time. They'll probably end up winning this game completely.
All right, so that brings us to the end of these games here. We got a couple weeks before the college football playoffs start. A couple more weeks. Got a lot of ball games on.
No, we don't.
Schedule,
No, we don't.
Right?
The college football playoff starts this week.
Yeah.
Was it starts Sunday?
Yep.
All right, and
Monday.
Monday.
It starts Monday. It's odd though that it's competing with Monday Night Football.
No, never
isn't it?
mind. It's on Saturday.
Yeah, it's on Saturday. Yeah, it's not competing with Monday Night Football. All right, opening game. Look, Saturday at 7:00. Ohio State goes to Georgia. Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. So they're designated here as the home team. Ohio State's had their issues. I mean, can you legitimately bet against this Georgia team at -6.5, Nate?
I don't think so. I mean, this is a home game for Georgia. They're playing in Atlanta.
Yeah, they're playing in Mercedes.
They're playing in Atlanta in the Peach Bowl. I mean, this just looks like Ohio State's, they're fine. Everyone kind of hates on them because they got blown out by Michigan, that briefly knocked them out of the playoff. But I like Georgia here. Georgia's just a complete team. I'm sure we're going to have a great write-up from one of our staff writers, Brian Butcher, on GodzillaWins.com, previewing this game. Georgia just should be able to roll here.
Jack, what do you think?
Georgia -6.5, absolutely. They cover all the time. All they do is cover.
All they do is cover.
They're the best team in the country.
I mean, this has got to be one of those bets where you lay the 6.5. If you got any money left over, you go with Georgia. I mean, Ohio State's not going to beat them, and they blow everybody out. I mean, that's the thing. They blow everybody out. This might be the best college football team I've ever seen. So I like Georgia. TCU +7.5. Michigan. On paper, Michigan looks like the better team. I mean, it's really tough to bet teams in a game like this from the Big 12. You look at the 7.5, you figure, geez, that's a lot. Is Michigan really that great? What do you think, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the biggest spreads ever in college football playoffs, and it should be. TCU probably is not a deserving team for the college football playoff. They won the Big 12, great, blah, blah, but they're just not the sort of team that is going to win the college football playoff. They're not better than any of these teams. They should be an underdog here. The Wolverines are just way better. TCU basically only scores like on explosive plays, like when they rip off a huge explosive play being 30 yards, 40 yards, whatever. That's really only how they score. Wolverines don't give up explosive plays. Michigan is really good at tackling. They're really good at limiting those sort of big plays. So I just don't see a path for TCU to score enough against a really high-powered Michigan offense.
Jack.
TCU's not going to score at all. I mean, maybe they get 7-14, but Michigan blows this thing wide open. I'm going Michigan -7.5. That defense is for real. Michigan's defense is incredible. Take the Wolverines here. Take both of the favorites, and then we'll talk about the winner of that game.
I agree with that. I like the two favorites. I love Michigan here at 7.5. Both these teams are going to win handily. I want to thank everybody for being with us, and I want to tell you that when you get to college football, the fans, the tradition, the glory, there's nothing more thrilling than college football, and it all comes down to the national championship game that's going to be happening coming up a week from Monday. My go-to for betting is DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps. This championship game, I think it's going to be between Michigan and Georgia right now. New customers, you can bet just $5 on any college football game right now and get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose. Plus, everyone can combine multiple bets for a bigger payout with DraftKings same-game parlays. This is all you have to do. I love this app. I play it all the time. We're here live in Nashville. I'm playing the Titans tonight. I'm taking the 2 touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and if you use promo code Godzilla, new customers bet just $5 on any college football game, and you get $200 in free bets instantly, win or lose. That's promo code Godzilla only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Virginia only. Bonus issued as free bets. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.football. Terms, if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call the Virginia Problem Gambling Helpline, 888-532-3500. Want to thank my team. We're live in Nashville tonight. Jack Fredericks, my older son, the big guy, editor of GodzillaWins.com, senior contributor Nate Perry from Reno. Nate, good to see you.
It's fun.
Jack's lifelong friend. And we're going to sign off and go to the Titans game tonight, Nissan Stadium. That's going to be next. I will see you on Monday, 6 a.m.